Hello, my Maple Leaf fans. I'm now gonna take you to our live press pre-game press conference live before Thursday's game versus the Ottawa Senators. I hope you enjoy this press conference.
Now there's 85% more Tide in every Power Pod.
I see you dancing in the air. We've been listening to this for a little bit. Watch me, baby, yeah, follow me.
You're closing in on the All-Star. I don't know how often have you thought about that, or is it much on your mind?
I try not to think about it, obviously, because I'm close. I'm getting reminded about it a fair amount these days. But you just try to focus on going about your business the same way and just playing well and doing good things to help this team and obviously counting on to produce. So creating chances and working on to execute, cashing in on those and making good on those at a high rate. So just try to focus on that way when it comes. Obviously enjoy the moment and take maybe an extra second or two than you normally would, but just really trying to focus on playing well and doing what I can to help this team and making plays and putting it in when I get those chances.
What would that number mean to you?
Yeah, hard to describe. I think obviously really significant milestone. Just to have that opportunity and the guys that have accomplished that before me, really special and the greatest players in the history of the game, right? So to kind of be along some of those names of guys that have hit that number would be pretty cool. And I think I like to think it's a testament of just my passion for the game and commitment and work ethic, and also says a lot about the people around me, teammates, coaches, organizations, and how they've supported me, given me great opportunities to succeed and thrive and be productive and play at a high level. So it's be pretty cool. So, but not there yet. One at a time, and just focus on playing well.
John, it's going to be, looks like a 4-team World Cup, Canada, U.S., Sweden, Finland next season. Your thoughts on playing best on best, as flawed as that might sound?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's dying for itching for best on best international hockey. It goes way too far in between, especially the generations that we have now. I think guys like Sid and some of the veterans that have been around over the last 15, 20 years that have done so many great things in the game, and certainly the current generation really in their prime, and just what that hockey would look like, the competitiveness, and obviously what you're playing for and playing for your country. So I know I would love to be a part of it and to have that experience once again, especially the talent that's in their prime now in that current generation and what's coming, and also what you'd be playing against. It's remarkable, I think, the skill and development of the game all around the world. So it'll be really exciting to have that again.
John, kind of sticking on that international theme, Fraser and Easton getting invited to Canada's camp yesterday, and obviously you did it twice, won a couple of gold. But what would you say to them as about to embark on camp next week and that experience?
Yeah, well, a little pressure on Fraser because my kids are expecting him to be there, so they really want to watch him. They've kind of gone into the World Junior bug a little bit, which is cool, and obviously it's upcoming, so it'd be really cool to watch him, especially getting to know him a little bit and having him around our household for a couple of weeks there. So no, but exciting for them. Obviously, I think any Canadian kid, it's a huge opportunity that everyone wants to get a chance at. Really special opportunity, and a box you really want to check, and it's a very small window and chance you get to play and have that opportunity to earn a spot at the World Juniors. So big steps for them. We're excited, and obviously great experience of just playing under a lot of eyes, high intensity. The expectations, all those things will help prepare them professionally as well. So great for our club too.
Yeah, you just mentioned that, but it's been a while since Canada had a Leaf prospect on it. Potential for two, it kind of gives you an idea of what's coming. We saw that too in camp, the way that these guys played, right?
Yeah, I think we got to be really excited about them, and I think many guys, many players in our organization, but certainly being two Canadian boys, we're excited about that, especially someone like myself playing at the World Juniors, playing for Canada, and exciting for Leafs Nation to follow that and be aware of just a really strong foundation here, top to bottom through the organization, and see what's coming and continue to support the big club when those days come.
Going back to the founders points, you mentioned how great is someone who was very influential early in your career. He recently told a story about how you crashed his car.
I heard that.
What do you remember about that incident?
I don't know exactly what he said. My wife told me about it. But I remember being a very narrow passageway, entering and exiting the driveway. Not my finest moment still, but as a young guy, you learn some things along the way, and you'd love to have a few moments back, and that's probably one I'd love to have back. So, but always grateful for Doug, Allison, his family, treated me tremendously well, and really being around them. I think I see a lot of full circle coming around for myself with me and my family and my kids and whatnot. So, yeah, obviously a great friend, and likes to throw me under the bus every once in a while, I guess. So. Pardon?
Was he embellishing the incident?
I think so. That car was on its way out anyways, so I think so. But yeah, like I said, not my finest moment. So.
John, what do you think of an Ottawa club that you guys? Rowdy beat you guys in the third period about a few weeks ago and beat the Rangers last night, doing some good things there.
Yeah, and we have been played for a few days here, and obviously we've gone through it over the last couple of weeks here a couple of times. Just that challenge of getting back to that level and that type of intensity and competing, at the NHL level and what that is and what that type of competition is like. So, yeah, no doubt. He's always competitive games against Ottawa, so excited about the challenge, and we got to be ready right from puck drop.
Coaches always lose their temper during practice, but we saw Sheldon lose it a couple of times. Is that just a stretch of so many days off and not enough games?
Maybe, yeah. I think we're all itching to kind of get back at it for sure. So, and I think it's just trying to demand a high standard for the group, continue to push the group. So, always making sure we're sharp and he's on top of things and not letting things slide. So, the level of detail that we want, especially heading into a big game tomorrow and a really big stretch, a lot of hockey upcoming here.
I guess maybe we'll find out more tomorrow night. Did you get accomplished in 3 out of 4 practice days what you wanted to, Sheldon? Or how did things go?
Yeah, I think so. The first practice day was the day after a game, and you're really that's just about kind of keeping them fresh versus taking 2 days off, because I thought practicing 3 days in a row probably would have been a little too much. But yeah, the guys want to play games. We got a real busy stretch coming here too, so I think guys are as much as you like to practice, time. There's positives and negatives to it, right? I think certainly by this point in the season, the guys like to just be in a rhythm of playing their games and recovering and getting at it again, and that's what's coming.
How did Ilya look to you getting through this session today?
Just the fact that he got through it is a good one, good thing, and a positive sign. He came in today feeling better and the best he's felt in quite some time. So that's really positive to get that full skate in.
To have a player like Martin Jones as your number 3, a guy with all that experience, you must feel good.
Yeah, it's really good to have him in the organization, both in the role he's able to play with the Marlies and the goalies there and the team there, and supporting us here as well. Sammy gets ill, and you can call on Jonesy, and like you say, with his experience and as long as he's been in the league, it's another really good partner for a young goalie like Joseph Wall. So that's really good for us to have that level of depth.
Will Ilya travel with you guys tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll travel with us tomorrow, and he'll skate in the morning, and we'll see how he is again tomorrow. I'll make a decision on whether or not he'll back up.
We saw what Easton and Fraser did in training camp, and Fraser for a few games here. What does it say about them and the depth of the organization that they're on the Team Canada invited list?
Well, it speaks to how those players have developed, and the belief that the organization showed in them by selecting them when they did. And I don't know that they're overly popular picks at the time necessarily, but they're two guys that the organization believed in, and they just worked. I think talking to both guys that, like any young player, you have a goal of playing in the World Juniors and giving yourself a chance to be on that list to compete for a spot there. So, a great accomplishment for them and just another experience for them, as they're developing. I'm sure it'll be a competitive camp and all those kind of things, and they'll be right in the mix, because one thing about those two guys is they're absolute competitors. So they'll certainly will give their all.
You mentioned the guys want to stop practicing and get to games. Is that also for the coach at one point? You kind of rather animated more so than you.
Well, I think part of that is just, like I was saying, there's positives and negatives to not playing and to practicing, right? You get to practice time, you work on some things, but then the negative piece of it is you're not necessarily game ready, right? So you're trying to manufacture that, as much as you want guys to compete at a high level and work and practice. It's not the same as a game when you're going against your teammates. So when you're trying to maintain high standards and habits that you want to develop through games, it's difficult to do when you don't play for a bit. Then you're going to play against a team that has been playing. So you're trying to manufacture that through practice time. But yes, certainly you want to get in a rhythm here. It's been unnatural in terms of how our schedule's been the last month or so, and we like to start building our game and building some positive momentum, and having games without disruptions is part of that. But we got to take care of the first game in front of us and look to build that momentum here with a busy stretch coming.
Sheldon, I know it's been a month since you guys faced Ottawa, and they scored 3 in the third. Do you look back at that game at all? Do you look more against what they did against the Rangers, take more into what you guys did against the Bruins on Saturday?
Yeah, quite honestly, we're really just focusing on our game. I mean, you look at no matter who our opponent has been, there's things in each of those games that we want to improve upon, and we've thought the Boston game, in terms of how our game looked, was one of the more complete games that we've had. We didn't get the result in the end, and there's things to manage inside of that we think could help us get on the winning side. But we just want to continue to build our game. So that's what these last 2 practice days in particular have been about, is connecting with the things that we did really well in Boston, continuing to refine those, and work through some of those details in our practices, and bring it out to no matter who we're playing.
Just real quick, I think I spoke to you last week and told you when we had news on John we would be back. So John is going to have a surgical procedure. We're finalizing the date here. It'll be at the end of the month, December, looking like, and that'll effectively end his season. I'll have a better idea as we finalize what all is going to get done, and ultimately once they do the procedure, of how long the rehab is going to be. But it's safe to say in the 5 to 6 month range. But so that's the news. So we just wanted to make sure that once it was clear and once it was definitive in terms of the path that it was going down, that we share that with you. And so that's the news today.
How's he handling that?
Well, disappointed. Like any player, you're disappointed. Was hopeful that this wouldn't be the case. But now once you make that determination, and once it's finalized, and you go to step 2 is getting through it and getting get through the procedure and get ready for rehab and go from there.
Was there any option that would have allowed him to come back?
Sorry,
Was there an option that would have allowed him to come back?
No, I mean at the end of the day, the option that we looked at was patchwork, right? Which he tried to do. Really, this was really aggravated I think it was the Florida game. So what was that, game 4, 5? And then you saw him, sort of patchwork it for a few weeks. So ultimately, we wanted to take some time here to make sure what's the best outcome here. How do you get to the best outcome? And ultimately, this needs to be done.
How does this impact what you might do on the trade market?
Excuse me?
How does this impact what you might do on the trade market?
Well, listen, I know there's lots of speculation, out there, and I'm learning that Toronto gets speculated a lot. Whether it's true or not. So, listen, our John's a player that we brought in here, and he's a good defenseman, and he's no longer going to play for us, right? We just got to be, we're going to be cautious of we've got players that are coming back. We certainly, I think it's no secret, we've investigated what the market is, what those costs would be. Would we like to help ourselves there? Sure. But having said that, what's the cost, and what's the availability of players out there that ultimately can come in and make a difference? So credit to the guys that have come in and are playing hard. Hopefully we can get some reinforcements back. They're starting to trend in a positive direction, and we'll continue to look and see if there's ways to help ourselves.
But having clarity on John's situation must make your job a little easier, knowing you have.
Yeah, I don't know if easier is the word. You got clarity, right? Which is really important versus saying is he or isn't he? And we've gone through this period of time where is he or isn't he, right? So you never like to see a player go down, but we do have clarity now on he's not going to be available to us. So it's next man up, and then now the manager's got to continue to look in our group of ways that we can help ourselves.
How much did you talk about him as the injury progressed?
I mean, it was affecting him, right? So any time that you get to a point where you have to have a procedure done, it's significant, right? Those aren't just done for the sake of them getting done. So obviously it was significant.
We'll do one more here. Where's he going to have the surgery, Brad?
I think right now it's going to be in New York. Yeah.
Can we ask you real quick about Cameron and Minton
Yeah.
being selected to the Team Canada selection camp?
Yeah, I think it's a feather in the cap for both players, and anytime that you're identified for that team, I think it's a tremendous honor. So hats off to both of them. I looked at the numbers. I think there's still some weeding to go, right? They probably got to make a couple of cuts, but great honor. Very proud for both. Sent them a note. Being recognized like that is a great honor. Now go in and have a really good camp and hopefully go represent your country. But great honor for both.
This holiday season, you choose the moment. We'll provide the bliss. Lindor.